Welcome back this evening. The forest outside has gone still again, that deep kind of quiet that comes after the wind runs out of things to say. Every leaf, every branch, every small thing that moves seems to be holding its breath. And somewhere in that silence, there's a weight in the air that feels older than the trees themselves. If you listen carefully, it almost hums. Tonight's story is called The Pyramid Beneath the Trees. It's about a place hidden under years of growth, where stone meets root and memory meets moss. No one remembers who built it or why, but the forest seems to have made peace with it. Now the vines climb its sides like gentle hands, and the rain runs softly down its face, as if washing something that never really fades. It's not a ruin. It's a dream that learned how to stand still. So take a deep breath. Let the noise of the day fade into the trees. Let your thoughts settle like dust on stone. Tonight, we'll walk through the forest and find what's waiting there, half buried, half awake, and entirely patient. Let's begin. The forest was thick that day, the kind that swallows sound. Even my footsteps felt muted, as though the ground had learned to walk with me. The air was cool but heavy, filled with the scent of wet bark and soil. Light fell through the canopy in thin lines, faint enough to feel borrowed. And somewhere ahead, the trees seemed to part ever so slightly, as if holding something back. I had been following a stream that no longer knew where it wanted to go. It drifted between roots, disappearing into patches of moss, reappearing again as though testing different paths. Every turn felt familiar, though I'd never been there before. The forest has a way of repeating itself, not in shape, but in feeling. You recognize the rhythm before you recognize the place. Then, through the quiet, I saw it. At first, it looked like nothing more than a hill covered in vines. But the angles were wrong for a hill. Too precise. The edges caught the fading light just enough to reveal their intent. Stone, not earth. A structure breathing beneath a forest that had long forgotten its name. I stood there for a while, unsure if I should step closer. It didn't feel forbidden, just private, like a moment I wasn't supposed to interrupt. The air around it was cooler, denser somehow, as though time itself slowed near its base. And the sound of the stream changed too, softer, almost reverent. When I finally moved forward, the ground shifted beneath me. Old roots crossed the soil like the veins of something sleeping. Each step uncovered more of the stone beneath, smooth, weathered, and carved with faint lines that spiraled upward toward the treetops. The forest hadn't erased it. It had only hidden it until someone decided to listen. Up close, the pyramid was almost impossible to see all at once. The forest had woven itself around it like a second skin. Thick vines ran from trunk to stone, connecting the two until they seemed to share a pulse. Moss grew thick between the cracks, softening the hard lines, blurring where one age ended and another began. It didn't look abandoned. It looked content. I brushed my hand along the surface, feeling how cool the stone was beneath the moss. It wasn't the chill of shade or damp air. It was something steadier, the kind of cold that comes from deep within. The carvings were shallow but deliberate, following a pattern that spiraled upward like slow-moving water. Every so often, my fingers caught on small indents, as if they had once held something, jewels perhaps, or offerings now reclaimed by the forest. The light above shifted, spilling through a break in the branches. For a moment, the pyramid glowed faintly, the moisture on the moss turning silver. Tiny insects hovered in the beam, their wings catching the shimmer as they circled lazily. The entire clearing felt alive, not in motion, but in memory. It was as though the forest itself was exhaling after a long-held breath. I began to walk slowly around its base. The structure wasn't enormous, but it carried the weight of something much larger. Roots had pried open small sections, their tendrils slipping between stones like curious fingers. And though much of it was hidden, the geometry remained perfect, patient, and still. You could tell it had been built for silence. When I reached the far side, I noticed an opening, small, triangular, half swallowed by growth. Inside, there was nothing but shadow, thick and undisturbed. The wind outside moved softly through the trees, but here, it didn't enter. The air stood still, heavy with the scent of stone and time. I stood at the edge, listening to the quiet until it almost sounded like it was listening back. I leaned closer to the opening. The air that drifted from it was colder than I expected. Not unpleasant, just different. It carried no scent of decay or dampness, only the faint metallic taste of untouched space. The kind of air that hadn't been disturbed in years. It pressed lightly against my face, like a breath coming from the other side. I crouched to look inside. The interior was faintly lit, though there was no sign of flame or reflection. It was more of a suggestion of light, like the memory of day that refused to fade completely. Dust hung in the air, catching that dim glow in slow-moving spirals. Each particle seemed to drift with purpose, turning gently as if guided by a rhythm I couldn't hear. I stepped inside. The sound of the forest dimmed behind me, replaced by a low hum that came from nowhere and everywhere at once. It wasn't loud, more like the echo of a thought, the residue of something once spoken. The floor sloped downward slightly, carved stone slick with age. My footsteps left faint marks in the dust, and the hum shifted each time I moved, as though reacting to my presence. The corridor opened into a chamber not much larger than a small room. The ceiling arched above me in perfect symmetry. The stones fitted so tightly together that they might as well have grown that way. The light was stronger here, soft, diffuse, without any clear source. In the center of the room stood a pedestal covered in vines that had found their way through small cracks in the walls. They wrapped around it gently, as though protecting whatever it once held. I brushed away some of the growth and saw faint carvings beneath. They weren't words, at least not in any language I recognized. The shapes resembled the curves of roots, the veins of leaves, the flow of water. Everything about them felt organic, as if nature had been part of the design from the very beginning. The pyramid hadn't been overtaken by the forest. It had invited it in. I traced the carvings for a while, letting my fingers follow their looping patterns. The surface was smooth in some places, rough in others, as if time itself had been selective in what it wanted to preserve. Each curve seemed to lead naturally into the next, a flowing motion that made it hard to tell where anything began or ended. The longer I looked, the more it felt like the design was moving, just slightly beneath the surface. Not alive, but remembering how to be. The air inside the chamber was warm now, carrying a faint rhythm that pulsed through the walls. It wasn't mechanical or human, more like the heartbeat of the earth beneath me. Each thrum passed gently through the stone and into my bones, slow enough to calm rather than startle. I wondered how long this rhythm had been playing, if it had ever stopped. There was another passage on the far side, narrow and uneven. The light from the chamber didn't follow me when I entered. It stayed behind, content to keep that small space alive. The walls here were closer together, their surfaces slick with condensation that shimmered faintly. Every sound felt magnified, the faint echo of water dripping somewhere deep below. The hum grew quieter, but it didn't disappear. As I walked, I thought I saw movement along the stone, thin threads of light traveling upward, vanishing when I tried to focus on them. They reminded me of the stream I had followed earlier, splitting and rejoining in endless patterns. It occurred to me that maybe the water above and whatever moved here below were part of the same flow. Two halves of the same breath. The forest above wasn't simply growing over this place. It was growing from it. I reached another chamber, smaller this time, and found what looked like an open pit at its center. It wasn't deep, just a shallow basin carved into the stone, filled with roots that had wound together into a nest-like shape. A faint glow came from beneath them, steady and soft. The vines didn't seem to grow toward it. They grew around it, protecting the light rather than feeding from it. And standing there, I realized that whatever this place had once been built for, it had succeeded. It was still keeping something alive, something that never stopped breathing. I knelt beside the basin, careful not to disturb the roots. The light beneath them pulsed faintly, not bright enough to see through, but strong enough to feel. It reminded me of how sunlight filters through closed eyelids, present but gentle. Every few moments, it dimmed and returned, matching the rhythm of the low hum that had followed me since I entered. It wasn't coincidence. The pyramid and the forest were breathing together. The roots shifted slightly when I leaned closer, not recoiling, just adjusting, as though making room. I could see the faintest shimmer between the gaps, a soft gold turning slowly toward green. There was movement down there, fluid and steady, like sap flowing through veins. I thought for a moment I heard the faint sound of leaves rustling, though there were none in sight. I reached out, then stopped. It didn't feel right to touch it. Whatever this was, it wasn't meant to be taken or changed. It existed perfectly as it was, light beneath life, life protecting light. There was nothing to fix, nothing to uncover. Only something to understand quietly. The air around me thickened, heavy with warmth. The hum grew louder, almost surrounding me, but not in a way that frightened. It was comforting, like standing inside a song without lyrics. The walls shimmered faintly, lines of moisture forming delicate trails that ran down toward the basin. Every drop that reached the roots was absorbed instantly, vanishing into the network below. It felt as if the pyramid was still feeding the forest, still giving it something long after the builders were gone. Maybe that had always been its purpose, not to hold power but to share it, to let the living world inherit the memory of stone, and the forest, in its patience, had accepted the gift. I sat near the basin until the hum began to fade again. Not gone, just quieter, as if it no longer needed to speak so loudly. The glow beneath the roots steadied, falling into a slow rhythm that felt familiar now. It was the same pulse I'd heard in the trees outside, the same one that had guided the stream and swayed the moss. The forest had been carrying this heartbeat all along. I looked around the chamber one last time. The air shimmered faintly where the walls met the floor, like heat rising from stone. Tiny motes drifted in the light, turning lazily as if uncertain whether to fall or rise. Everything here seemed caught between movement and stillness. And maybe that was what made it beautiful, that it didn't need to choose. When I finally stood, my footsteps made no sound. The hum didn't follow me back through the passage, but its warmth stayed close, tucked somewhere behind my ribs. By the time I reached the first chamber, the light had dimmed again, returning to that quiet gray. The vines had already started to reclaim the pedestal, closing the space I'd disturbed. It was as though the forest had already forgotten I'd been there, and that somehow felt right. Outside, the trees waited. The light filtering through the canopy was softer now, tinted green and gold. I could still hear the stream nearby, its wandering rhythm unchanged. When I looked back, the pyramid was already fading into shadow, its edges dissolving into the forest around it. It hadn't disappeared. It had only gone back to sleep. As I walked away, the air grew lighter, easier to breathe. A breeze passed through the trees, brushing against my shoulder like a small, wordless goodbye. Somewhere deep in the forest, a bird called once, then fell silent. And though I couldn't see it anymore, I knew the pyramid was still there, rooted beneath the canopy, holding the quiet weight of ages, waiting for the next wandering soul to listen. So here's where the story ends. The forest breathes again, slow and content, its roots wrapping softly around the stone. The pyramid sleeps beneath the canopy, not forgotten, just resting. The hum has quieted, but it hasn't stopped. It moves now through the soil, through the streams, through the air that finds you here. Let yourself rest the same way. Let the thoughts in your mind settle like dust on cool stone. You don't need to chase them or turn them away. Just let them drift, slow and harmless into stillness. There's nothing left to search for tonight. Breathe. The world will keep turning without you for a while. Let the hum fade into the dark. Let sleep find its way through the trees. And when it does, let it stay.